Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into a pretty unique story. It's drawn from these three sort of interconnected personal accounts.
Yeah, it's about this young man, Samir Nabil. And his journey was, well, short, but incredibly powerful. His life just changed so radically, so fast.
Right, and that speed is what's really striking. We're talking about a complete, like, 180-degree turn from one ideology to its opposite.
Exactly. And these sources, they detail it meticulously.
So our mission today is to kind of unpack that.
Yeah.
Figure out who he was before, what exactly sparked the change, what happened right after, and then the really surprising way his story ends.
It all happened in just a matter of months.
Incredible. So where do we start? With the man himself.
Let's start with who he was. We actually have his own words from this public Facebook post he made. It's called Samir.pdf.
Okay, so his own description. What does he tell us?
Well, he's a young guy, was studying medicine in Serbia. His background's mixed, father from Yemen, mother Serbian.
But intellectually, he wasn't religious.
Far from it. He was deeply immersed in Marxist thought. He says point blank he was raised denying God, believing the universe just, formed by chance.
Standard materialist view, then.
Pretty much, yeah. And he mentions his father was actually a member of the Communist Party, so this was like baked into his upbringing.
Well, was he just sort of passively atheist? Or?
That's a key thing. He wasn't passive at all. He says himself he was actively antagonistic towards faith. He admits leading a life of sin, as he put it, and trying to get other young people into denial and disbelief.
Wow.
Online, mainly. He specifically mentions using Facebook to, and these are his words, insult Islam and Muslims. So, yeah, not neutral. He was pushing his viewpoint.
Wow. So an active proponent of atheism?
An ideological evangelist for it, you could say, which sets up this really interesting tension, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, think about it. He's a medical student. He's studying the human body, anatomy, incredible complexity, right?
Right. Seeing biological design up close every day.
Exactly. But his whole worldview, this Marxist framework, basically forced him to see it all as just random chance, no designer involved.
It's like his training and his ideology were in direct conflict, even if he didn't see it that way at first.
Precisely. He's looking at cadavers, seeing these miracles of function, but the ideology sort of provides blinders. The old religion is the opium of the people idea. Like, just ignore anything that points beyond the material.
Okay, so that's the setup, this intense internal contradiction. What broke it? What was the catalyst?
It seems to boil down to one single thing, an intellectual trigger, but one that hit him emotionally, too. He came across a book.
Just randomly.
Apparently, he saw it mentioned on a friend's Facebook page. The book was called Kainat İnsan ve Kur'an-ı Tefekkür,
which translates to something like
Contemplating the Universe, Man, and the Quran. The author was Osman Nuri Topbaş.
Okay, that title alone signals a shift. From politics to philosophy, almost.
Right, and Samir explains why it hit him so hard. The book apparently talks about God's miracles using, scientific evidence, things in the universe, and it stresses actually thinking about them. Contemplation.
So it spoke his language, in a way.
Yeah.
The language of evidence.
It did. He said it brought together material proofs of God's existence, but also had this breath of faith. And here's the interesting part. He said it moved his heart before his mind fully processed it.
That's a powerful insight. Emotion leading the intellectual shift.
Mm-hmm. But then there was a specific moment, a collision point between his medical world and this newfound perspective.
What was it?
It was a verse from the Quran, quoted in the book. It apparently just floored him. He said he wept uncontrollably when he read it.
Which verse?
It translates as, "There are signs in yourselves, do you not see?"
Wow. The irony.
Exactly. Here he is, a medical student, literally looking at the signs inside human bodies every single day.
But his ideology had prevented him from seeing the signifier behind them.
That's precisely it. Suddenly, his medical knowledge wasn't evidence against a creator. It was the ultimate proof for one. All that intricate design he saw in anatomy couldn't be just chance anymore. It needed a designer.
So that was the aha moment.
That was it. The dam broke. And the change wasn't gradual after that.
No slow conversion process?
Nope. Instantaneous. He immediately declared the Shahada. The testimony of faith.
I bear witness.
Right. And he announced right then publicly he was returning to God. He even mentioned sort of poignantly that he'd never prayed in his life, but he was going to start immediately.
He literally said, I am born anew.
Yes. A complete rebirth intellectually and spiritually.
Okay, so you have this dramatic, very public declaration after such a profound internal shift. Did word get back to the author of the book that sparked it all?
It did. And that brings us to our second source. It's a message from the author, Osman Nuri Topbaş, responding to Samir's conversion.
What was his take on it?
He congratulated him, obviously. But he used some really potent spiritual language. He called it nailing guidance and talked about moving from darkness to light.
Classic Quranic imagery for finding faith.
Exactly. But what's interesting is how the author framed it conceptually.
Go on.
He suggested Samir hadn't really discovered something new, but had actually returned to his pure, untainted essence. He used the term fatrat zalime.
The idea of an innate disposition towards God.
Precisely. The author's view was that Samir's environment, his upbringing, that Marxist ideology from his parents, it had all just sort of clouded over this natural inclination that was always there.
So the conversion wasn't adopting something alien, but uncovering something inherent.
That's the perspective, yeah. Removing the fog, essentially. Which kind of validates Samir's own feeling of being born anew. The real him was finally emerging.
It reframes the whole experience.
It does. And the author then sort of zooms out, puts it in a bigger context. He reminds Samir that the real life is the life hereafter.
Emphasizing the eternal significance of this guidance.
Right. Calling it the greatest honor possible. It sets a very high spiritual expectation for whatever came next for Samir.
And what came next? Well, it wasn't what anyone might have expected. This is where the story takes another sharp and tragic turn.
Yeah, this brings us to the third source, and it's pretty dramatic. It reports Samir's death.
Just months after this huge life change.
Only a few months later, the timeline is incredibly compressed.
And how did it happen? Was it related to his newfound faith?
Indirectly, perhaps, in terms of where he was and what he was doing. He had actually traveled from Serbia. His goal, his intended destination, was Mecca.
For pilgrimage, Umrah or Hajj.
Exactly. That was the plan, complete his spiritual commitment. But he ended up diverting his path, or his path was diverted for him. He went to Yemen.
Okay. And he died in Yemen.
Yes. But not, peacefully or anything. He was killed.
How?
The report says he was hit by shrapnel from random fire. And the key detail is what he was doing when it happened.
Which was?
He was providing medical aid, using his skills to help injured protesters.
Wait, so just months after finding faith, he goes from studying medicine in Serbia, having denied God, to using those same medical skills sacrificially on a front line in Yemen.
Their reversal is stark, isn't it? His purpose completely flipped.
That's astonishing. He intended a spiritual journey to Mecca, but ended up on this humanitarian mission in Yemen that cost him his life.
The path changed drastically.
What about his state of mind? He must have been disappointed not to reach Mecca.
You'd think so, but the source actually details his final moments, or his words just before he lost consciousness. And it's quite remarkable.
What did he say?
He reportedly said he was very happy, felt blessed that he was going to meet God and the Prophet Muhammad. This is despite, really, really wanting to do the Umrah and Hajj.
So acceptance, even joy.
It sounds like it, as if he accepted this sudden, unplanned service as fulfilling his purpose in a different way.
Did he leave any final requests? A testament of Vasiyet?
He did. 2 specific things, and they tie everything together. First, incredibly symbolically, he asked for that book, the Tefekkür, the contemplation book that started it all, to be placed in his grave with him.
Wow, to be his companion.
His companion and comforter were the words used. That book was the bridge for him, and he wanted it with him.
That speaks volumes about the power of that text for him. What was his second request?
It related to the pilgrimage he couldn't finish. Since he longed for it so much, he asked if any Muslim who was able could perform the Umrah and Hajj on his behalf.
A plea for someone to complete that journey for him.
Yes. After saying this, he recited the Shahada one last time, lost consciousness, and then died 5 days later.
Such a packed few months. From staunch atheist to convert to martyr, almost.
And there's one more detail the sources add, about his appearance after death.
Oh.
They specifically mention his face looked like it was smiling. The word used is mutabessim.
Smiling.
Yes. And also that the area where he died had the strong smell of musk, apparently, that lingered for some time.
Within the context of these sources, those details are presented as signs,
Yeah.
right? Spiritual validation.
They definitely carry that weight in the narrative, yes. a kind of final affirmation of his journey and sacrifice.
So if we try to pull this all together,
Mm.
it's this incredibly fast, high-stakes transformation. Marxist atheist medical student, hostile to faith,
Mm.
has his worldview shattered by a single verse that reframes his entire profession.
Right, turning his scientific knowledge into proof for God.
And then, within months, he redirects his life towards service, inspired by this new faith, travels for pilgrimage, but ends up dying while providing medical aid in a conflict zone.
It's an extraordinary arc. The power of that internal realization, signs in yourselves, completely redirected his life and ultimately his death. His commitment wasn't just theoretical, it became immediate, selfless action in the most dangerous way.
It really makes you think about purpose, doesn't it? He sets out from Serbia with a clear spiritual goal, Hajj or Umrah in Mecca, a defined religious act.
The intended path.
But his journey ends differently. It ends while he's fulfilling this almost spontaneous worldly obligation, caring for the injured, using his skills.
A diversion that became his final act.
So the question we kind of want to leave you, the listener, with is this. Which path truly defined his purpose in the end? Was it the spiritual pilgrimage he intended? Or was it the unexpected sacrificial service that intercepted his journey?
Which one ultimately fulfilled the transformation that began with that single book? Something to contemplate. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.